What's going on, everyone? Tantalized Gaming here, and today I'm going to be bringing you a PvP guide for Destruction Warlocks in pre-patch. I understand a big hype that's going on right now is for the Affliction Warlock, which is a lot of fun. However, I feel like Destruction's still really good, so I'd like to go over some things with them, how they have some advantages over Affliction, Azzerites, talents, trinkets, things like that. So let's jump into it. Alright guys, so just like in my last build for Affliction Warlocks, the first thing that I wanted to talk about is the Azerite choices for your 3 pieces of Azerite gear. As most of you know, we lost Corruption when pre-patch went live, so with that Corruption for a lot of Warlocks was a large amount of haste. So I feel like so far Flashpoint has been and is still a really good choice for your Azerite choices here to keep Flashpoint on each piece of your gear. That pretty much just keeps your haste levels pretty high and enables you to get out more spells quickly, which for PvP is always something that you should prioritize. So another good Azerite that I've been seeing is Chaotic Inferno. Obviously, it's making your Chaos Bolts do a lot more damage, but also has the chance to make your Incinerate ability an instant cast, which pairs really well with Whirling Blaze. Another good Azerite trait to keep on gear if you see it is Overwhelming Power. Obviously, that's just more haste. So something that I've been trying to look for each of my gear is Chaotic Inferno, Flashpoint, and Overwhelming Power. Obviously, some of my gear doesn't have all of it, but I really feel like those 3 are a good 3 to prioritize for purposes of PvP. Moving on to talents, I'd like to just start with the talents here in the 15 row. I feel like Flashover is still your strongest choice for PvP on Destro Lock. Soulfire can be good, but Flashover I just feel like is better. So, and I'll show you why I don't think Soulfire is as good as Flashover, but we're going to go ahead and target this dummy here, send out a Soulfire, and watch the damage that comes out of it. So 5,261. Not bad. However, that's not as strong as a Chaos Bolt. So we're going to go ahead and send out a Chaos Bolt here, watch the damage. 6,786. So you're getting about 1,500 extra damage from a Chaos Bolt, and the only benefit really of using a Soulfire over a Chaos Bolt is that it stacks an Emulate on whoever it is you're using it on. And I guess it generates a Soul Shard for you. But I feel like you should be keeping Emulate on whoever it is you're fighting anyway. So Flashover, however, by using it, gives you a 25% increase of damage on your Conflagrate, and also grants an additional charge of Backdraft. So you use Conflagrate, and it gives you 2 stacks of Backdraft, which in essence reduces your cast times for either Incinerate or Chaos Bolt. So if you're using this talent, you can use Conflagrate, you'll see the draft, and your Chaos Bolt becomes, at least for my guy with his stats, a 1.3 second cast. And you're going to see that drop off, and it goes back up to, well, I have Overwhelming Power on, but 2.4 seconds. So that's kind of the standard cast time for Chaos Bolt. So you're almost getting it about a full second off of your cast time by using Flashover. So moving on to 25, I feel like Reverse Entropy is a really solid choice. Again, your spells have a chance to grant you 15% haste. Having that extra cast speed is crucial for really getting out your fears, getting out your Chaos Bolts, things like that. Shadowburn, I've heard some interesting things about. I haven't really seen it used competitively in the arena, but it is something that I'd like to experiment with. 30, the 30 talent row, it's pretty much the same with Affliction, honestly. You're usually going to choose Demon Skin. Sometimes Dark Pact can be strong. I've actually had the opportunity to play with this a little bit more, and it's pretty good. Especially if you're playing with a priest and you combine it with the Corrupted Gladiator's emblem. So essentially what you'll do is you can take this. I'll give up my Obsidian Claw here. And let's say you're running Demon Armor. So we'll choose Dark Pack. We'll have our emblem here. We're going to go ahead and use Demon Armor, which gives us a little bit more health. But essentially, with Dark Pack, what you can do is you'll use your Trinket for the extra health, gives you 28,000, and then you go ahead and use Dark Pack to take some damage, but you have a 14,569 damage absorbing shield for 15 seconds. So, pretty strong there. If you know that you're about to be opened on by, say, a Mage and Rogue combo, then you can pop that combo there. You know, use your Trinket, then use Dark Pact, and it will give you a hefty bubble for a little bit. So, the 35 row for Arenas, Cataclysm has always kind of been the go-to choice, having the extra damage, as well as getting the Emulate on whoever's affected by it is pretty good. So, comboing it with Shadow Fury and then using your Cataclysm is a good way to get a double stun off, as well as emulate 2 targets at once. Your 40 talent row here, Mortal Coil and Howl of Terror, similar to Affliction, is kind of your go-to choices. Mortal Coil does gain some preference in my eyes for Destruction Warlock because you have Havoc. Essentially, you can Havoc another target and double Mortal Coil, getting 40% heal and a 3-second fear to 2 people at once. I really enjoy that combo with Destro. So, moving on down to the 45 talent row. This is super situational. I feel like if you are playing against a comp with a lot of interrupts, so a rogue, a feral druid, something like that, where you know you're not going to be able to spend as many shards, Roaring Blaze can be really strong. So essentially, your Conflagrate increases your emulation, incinerate, and Conflagrate damage by 25% for 8 seconds. So using that again with your Chaotic Inferno in the event you do get a cast bolt off is giving you pretty much instant incinerate cast. So there's some good damage to be had there. You can see the damage difference with Conflagrate on. It's dropping for about 1,200 damage each ability. So switching into, I'll let this guy die out. Okay, switching into Reign of Chaos without that, 900 damage. Reign of Chaos can be really good if, you know, you are able to kind of just spam your burst rotation. So the biggest difference between these two, I would say, is Reign of Chaos is kind of the build you're going to play if you're hoping to keep the kind of Destro, drop the Infernal, and pump some serious damage. You're really hoping that the RNG works in your favor and you're getting some extra Infernos. Roaring Blaze is more of the talent to choose if you are worried about getting kicked a lot, but you're just hoping to do more overall sustained damage. So, sustained damage, big burst damage. Sustained damage, big burst damage. So, I'll give you an example of what the big burst damage for Reign of Chaos can potentially look like in the event you're choosing all of these different combinations. So your 50 talent row, I know some people have been playing Channel Demon Fire with Roaring Blaze, which don't believe it actually affects Channel Demon Fire. Yeah, it doesn't. So I would say your Dark Soul is still going to be your best choice here in the 50 row, for PvP at least. Maybe if you're playing against, like, again, a team that has a lot of Purges, Shamans, things like that, then Channel Demon Fire might be the better choice just to get out some overall damage. But if you're hoping to do your big burst windows, then Dark Soul is definitely the talent to go. So, as far as your PvP talents go, I feel like Focus Chaos is always a must for Destro. having the extra 40% damage for your Chaos Bolt is crucial. I usually take Cremation for the extra Conflagrate and Emulate damage. Essentially, if you have an Emulate on someone, then you're going to be doing 3% more damage with your instant cast Conflagrates, which if you're running Roaring Blaze, then it compounds. So that's always a solid choice. As far as your last pick, I'm usually going with Demon Armor or Netherward as far as defensives. You know, Netherward for spellcasters, Demon Armor for more of a physical defense. So that's kind of my go-to choices for PvP talents. So going into your neck piece, your majors here, you're usually always going to want to play with Vision of Perfection or Conflict and Strife. So as your major, if you have a healer that's really good at sustaining you in the arena, then Vision of Perfection is awesome. It will not only grant you and other players in your party haste, but it will, from time to time, based on RNG, it has the potential to drop an Inferno. Most of you are probably familiar with this. If you haven't experimented it, yes, it does compound with Reign of Chaos. So essentially, you can get a proc of an Inferno from this and continue to have chances to continue to keep proccing more and more Infernos based on your talent and VOP. And essentially, you have the potential to get up to 5 Infernos down on the ground and just do a ton of damage. So having this as a major really increases your damage output. Yes, it's RNG based, all of it. VOP has a 35% chance of summoning an Inferno, and then every time you spend a shard, you have a 15% chance of getting an Inferno with Reign of Chaos. So, but if you're working with a healer that's, you know, he's struggling to keep you alive, as always, Conflict and Strife is a solid major choice. Essentially, you're going to be able to survive more in stuns, and you're going to have a lot more versatility. So having that also gives you Demon Armor as a baseline, or just talent to have it. So it lets you pick something else here. Maybe you want to run Netherward as well as Demon Armor for maybe a Rogue Mage comp, or maybe you would like to have Fell Fissure on to, you know, help a double melee comp have less healing going out towards them. So Conflict and Strife is also always a solid choice for a major if you don't have the rank 3 version of VOP, but if you do and you have a good healer, this is your best choice. So I like Memory to Lucid Dream, just having a chance for a little bit extra healing, a little bit extra versatility, and also having the chance of a shard refunding on you. That's always nice. And then Death of the Dying is, or excuse me, Breath of the Dying is a solid choice for finishing people. If your target is below 20% health, the chance for the extra damage coming off this is increased by 400%. So that's really strong. So those are kind of my Heart of Azeroth choices here that I just went over. So when talking about trinkets, obviously Corrupted Aspirant's Medallion is kind of a must-have just to get yourself out of stuns. Sometimes having the Relentless one is better, just depending on what you're versing. So this would be more for like being worried about dying in a specific stun and needing to save your trinket for that specific stun. One example could be a Rogue's Cheap Shot in Smoke Bomb. That's usually a good time to use this trinket. If not, then the other one does just fine. As far as your damage trinkets, I've been really enjoying Obsidian Claw for the extra 5k damage. If not, then Vita is really nice for the extra haste while trying to sling out more Fears or Chaos Bolts. I'd like to show you a little example of what the damage rotation would look like if running the Reign of Chaos build. So I'm going to go ahead and put on my trinket here. Now, if some of you haven't watched my Affliction Warlock build, I went into macros for Warlocks a little bit in my build, and my macro for my Destruction spec is actually different than the macro from my Affliction spec. So just the only changing is instead of Dark Soul Misery, you're using Dark Soul Instability, and I have Cast Blood Fury on there, and I actually have used my Trinket all in the same burst down. So if you're in an arena, you're hoping that either your teammate or yourself are able to fear the healer, And then once the healer's feared, you're going to start building up some shards. Preferably, you want to be at 5 stacks before you drop your Inferno. You'll drop your Inferno, pop all your macros, and start letting Chaos Bolts rain out. Huge crit there, 10,500 damage. And you just keep it going, hoping... Oh, there's another proc. Okay, there's 2 Infernos on the ground. Getting some big damage here. There's another Inferno on the ground. We're going to keep Emulate up. Okay. And Reign of Chaos just ended, so... That is kind of what the damage burst looks like. If we switch over here to damage done. So in that little window, we did 102k damage. So, super strong potential there with Vision of Perfection, as you guys saw. And if you can get an Inferno to go early, then it just continues to keep compounding and compounding and compounding. So, meaning that you can get more and more Infernos out on the ground. That's your burst rotation for Destruction Warlock. It's similar to how it was in BFA. Obviously, you're not doing Chaos Bolts that are hitting for, you know, 200,000 and 300,000 damage. But I mean, you guys saw one of my crits was for over 10k. I'm at 23,000 health. So that's pretty significant. That's a 50% damage almost Chaos Bolt right there. So still a lot of huge damage and pressure in the arena. Destruction, I've actually enjoyed some of the changes. I think that having the multiple Infernals drop from the sky is a cool effect. It looks cool, it's fun. I do wish the chance for it to proc is a little bit higher. Sometimes your whole combo's wasted. But overall, pretty fun. And Roaring Blaze, you know, that's a fun talent too. Being able to keep a high sustained damage through your fire abilities in the arena is something new for Warlocks. This pre-patch. Usually it was just the drop your Infernal and turret Chaos Bolts all arena, but now this kind of gives you a little bit of options to play with. So I wanted to talk about kind of the differences between Destruction and Affliction as far as what I personally feel as their advantages in the arenas. So I've been playing a lot of arenas lately in Affliction and Destruction both, and I would have to say that I prefer Affliction in 3s. However, I feel like Destruction can still be really strong in 3s as well. As far as 2s go, I feel like Destruction is the more solid choice for 2s. At least when playing with another form of Rotting class. You know, if you're playing with a Feral Druid, if you're playing with a Shadow Priest, something like that in 2s, as an Affliction Warlock, you're not going to do as well. But as a Destruction Warlock, you have the potential to bring the burst to your team, and your teammate kind of just helps rot down other people. If you're playing with a healer in 2s as a Destruction Warlock, then you bring the burst damage that your team needs to be able to secure kills quickly in 2s over an Affliction Warlock, which you're kind of just trying to rot down both players. That can be kind of hard in 2s. I'm not saying that it can't work, but just that it's a little bit harder. So, but again, in 3s, the overall damage that you deal with Affliction Warlock is hard to beat. Just having your dots out on everyone, having unstable Affliction to be able to not be dispelled. If so, then the healer takes, you know, a lot of damage and is silenced. So the bottom line is, I don't know that there is one that's better than the other. I guess it just depends on your play preference. If you like the burst down kind of play style, then Destro would be better for you. If you like the huge damage numbers, try to rot everyone down, then Affliction would be better for you. But as far as 2s go, I do think Destro's better. As far as 3s go, I prefer Affliction. So, alright guys, so that concludes my build on Destruction Warlocks for PvP in 9.0. I hope that something I've shared today has maybe helped some of you decide which spec you'd like to play in 9.0. If you have any questions or any suggestions, I'd love to hear them. I'm free to answer any comments or any questions you might have. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.